I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First of all, we'd like to introduce the Windsor County Executive Committee. Our chair, Lynn Baldwin. Our vice chair, Albert Murray. Our secretary, Kelly Spalding. Committeeman, Earl Dione, couldn't be here today. Committeewoman, Andrea DeLuna Mary. Finance chair, me, Roy Spalding. State delegate at large, Michael Todd. And county member at large, Joe Jocelyn. I was going to have a Joe moment. I wanted to do it, but I wasn't sure everybody would know it. That's hilarious. All right, on these papers you'll see there's a reorganization and members' contact info on the bottom. Keep that, pass it to friends, pass it to everybody. As of right now, on our last count, Windsor County has the largest committee membership in the state. And my hometown, Kelly and I chair, Chester, Vermont, has the largest town membership. So it can be done, and it's been done in a 4 or 5 month period. So when this whole crew got together, things really started to change in the Windsor County. You know, it all starts with a few little towns. 2 or 3 people, next thing it's 10, next thing it's 20, next thing it's 50. It is actually fairly simple and easy to do. Windsor County, 24 towns. As of right now, I believe it's 15 counties, or 15 towns are organized. Last October, I think it was 6 or 7. So we go after the last of, the last 9. You can have a huge impact in the state of Vermont with very little effort. And with that being said, John Clark, you're up. Word.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is John Clark. For those of you who don't know me, you will now. I'm going to explain a little bit how I came to be here. I'm very humbled to join you. We've come a long way. I see a lot of people that I've been working with for 4 or 5 years. Most people don't know how I got, or who I am, or how I got involved in politics. I got involved as a part of a group who were meeting in Montpelier once a month to define who we are. I'm a Republican. Thank you. I'm not ashamed to be a Republican. I'm rather ashamed that I used to be a Democrat, but I'm glad that we have a large tent and we allow walkaways here, or I wouldn't be here. I walked out of the woods 5 years ago because I saw that my state was being destroyed. My background is in law and tax, and I was looking at the numbers for the pensions, for the schools, for the government spending, for the taxes. They are destroying us. In case you haven't noticed, it's got much worse. And everything I've been saying is coming true. That's the bad news. I'll get to the good news. You guys are the good news. This is populism. This is people rising up. So I want to plug my book, or I'll forget. My book is called Small Farm Republic. This book is actually a product of my campaign, which I'll relate that story in a minute. This book is also what Vermont once was, a distributist state in which people were self-reliant and independent and not dependent on the government, let alone the federal government, for everything and anything, all right? We were a Republican small farm republic. We must be again, okay? Because someone has to rescue us from the so-called progressives, who also brought us the eugenics movement and now critical race theory and other racism. They have not changed their stripes much. So how did I get involved? How am I sitting here? I am an example of what a grassroots person can do. I literally was living off-grid in the woods. I started going to these meetings. I was like, we need to identify and define ourselves. In case you haven't noticed, Republicans are labeled woman-hating, child-hating, environment-hating, all of these things that are not true of us, that are projected on us by those who are destroying our children, destroying our schools, who don't care enough about women to protect them from men who think they're women, who do not protect girls and young women to have the liberty to say that they only believe in 2 genders, let alone the abortion debacle. These are not people who care about women or children, okay? And drag queens are not giving story hours to teach anybody to read, okay? This is the Marxification of education. This is about breaking down children's minds. So when I got involved, I saw the chief thing was we need to define ourselves rather than sit back and allow them to define us. How would we do that? So I recruited a young woman named Kate Bowen, who is a farmer from Putney, to run for governor to challenge Phil Scott, who couldn't run fast enough to give away our gun rights and endorse abortion at any age and considers himself proud for it. So this was about creating a conservative voice other than Phil Scott's, okay, and finding what I would call a middle ground, not far right, but something that would appeal to Vermont voters. A little bit of fiscal integrity, maybe some school rights, and so we put some issues together. I got Kate to run. I appeared with her on June 19th, 2019 in Rutland to a resounding support for her. So I got involved to help a candidate run. Only her husband's in the Guard, he was away for a year, and the attacks had started on her, and she got cold feet. And I said, okay, I guess I'll do it. So I got kind of thrown in, as we all often do. If you find yourself in a position where you have to act or no one else will, then I am here to say, I did it, you can do it. For those of you that are running for the first time, for those of you that are already serving us at the legislature, we really appreciate you. We need you. And you don't run just to win, okay? I didn't actually think I had a big chance of winning against Phil Scott, the most popular governor in the country at that time, because he is all things to all people, isn't he? Democrats love Phil Scott. Why did I run? I got 39 people in total to run with me on a 3-issue platform: schools, pensions, and farms. Small farm republic. That we needed to support our local farms, our local businesses, the backbone of our state, our culture, our food production, and from there we could build on the other businesses that we've been neglecting in the name of saving the poor. The government has grown so big in this state, it is like a dragon eating its tail. It is devouring us. And the taxpayers are finally seeing this. So what is my message to people is to keep it down to a few issues, focus on your issues. Don't let the adversaries get you every time off guard onto what your weakest point is. Bring it back to your top issues. We win on the top issues. Now, I ran again 2 years ago for state senate, and what happened? Abortion became the issue. Roe versus Wade was repealed. It was the one issue in Vermont where we already had very much secured the right to kill a baby up until birth, okay? That whole thing was about transgender rights. Vermont is now a sanctuary state for transgender children that can come here from anywhere in the country and hide here and get surgeries and hormones without their parents being notified. All right? Our government, our police, and our judges are commanded by law not to protect those children when they're missing children. That is heinous. More and more people are waking up to that. I was attacked when I ran for state senate because I said they're doing hormones for children behind their parents' back. Oh, you're a liar. They said, you're a liar. I was like, no, I'm a lawyer, okay? Nobody likes a lawyer until they need one, all right? We needed one. Of course it's in the law. It's been in the law all along. Now it's out and open. People are having to, some people in schools have to remember 2 different names for a child. One for while they're at school, one for when they're talking to mom and dad. That's designed to break down our minds. That's designed to break down what the family unit is, what a child is. But what did they run the whole election on? Roe versus Wade. This is not a Roe versus Wade year. 2024 is your year. And this is why. Run on the same issues. Fiscal issues. Bill Huff will be speaking to you that you can have a unified message for the whole party. This is important. They do it. We need to do it. You can have your own issues, but agree to have certain priority issues that you'll bring to the voters. Voters want to know you're going to do something. And if everybody's going in their own direction, there's really no energy behind it. So what Bill and others are doing, and I thank all the people involved here, it's all so important that we all serve. Because I'm still here, I'm writing, I'm working on a sequel to my book, to try to warn people about what's happening with our food supply. If you haven't looked around in America right now, what's happening with the Biden administration, they're passing rules in the EPA, the USDA, the SEC, all of which impact the ability of small farms to keep operating. I write about it, I'm going to keep writing about it on my Substack. That's why I devote a lot of hours researching an 1,184-page rule for emissions for cars. One rule, 1,200 pages. Its effect is to put tailpipe emission restrictions not just on individual models of cars, but the entire fleet. So Chevrolet and Ford now have to manufacture a certain number of EV trucks and EV cars, even though nobody wants to buy them and they lose money on them. This is a socialist takeover of government, of business. And that's fascism. So we're in serious trouble nationally. Food inflation is going to get worse. I'm not even talking about what's happening internationally. All of the pressures we see for inflation, for food inflation, for food scarcity, that have been amplified in this state are going to get worse. And the voters are going to be listening, and it won't be about abortion this time. It will be about their tax rates. It will be about some of the highest school costs in the country. It will be about why you're not teaching math or reading anymore, because you're indoctrinating children to be little Marxists, little brain-dead Marxists. It's an attack on our country. It's an attack on our constitutions. It's an attack on Vermont. Vermonters who remember the Great Depression, Vermonters who even remember the OPEC crisis, might have an inkling of what's about to happen in this country. And only Republicans have the policies to resurrect the state and its foundations and its economic health and its food supplies and its schools, all right? Because it's failing. It's failing so abysmally. But the one uniparty up there, the progressives, are so self-absorbed with themselves that they don't even see you coming. The voters are going to come out this time. Let me tell you one of the things that hurt me in 2022. Our people don't vote in non-presidential election years. This year they will be voting. This year they are already walking away from the Democratic Party. They're walking away from the transgenderism. They're seeing that it's profane, that everything about what has been sold as a bill of goods is going to make Vermont better has made it worse. You need to be there to capture them, capture their votes, be their voice, because you're doing it already. Look at what you're doing here. And if you just keep it simple and define yourselves and be nice, because they're not. They're tolerant, they're rainbowy, they're toxic, they're warriors, they're nasty on the left, okay? So we have to be nice. I try. I'm a work in progress, all right? But I'm here to try to help you, to give you a voice. I keep writing nationally about the canary in the Vermont coal mine, so that the nation can see what happens to a state that institutes these kinds of idiotic policies. We, I guess, have to be the failure and the dead bird before the rest of the country wakes up. People are waking up. So I will continue to try to alert people here, but also I've got a bigger voice now in Vermont, and that's what I use it for, is to support our candidates. And you are not going to enter the kind of lightning rod campaign that I entered 2 years ago. Your people are going to vote. It's not going to be about abortion. It's going to be about the stuff that they've been trying to distract people from with their the birdie politics. All right? It's going to be about taxes. It's going to be about schools. It's going to be about pensions. Ask people on the left, do you think you're going to get paid your pension? How's that going to happen? Do you think that liberals are going to fund your promised benefits? How well is your fixed income doing if you're a retiree in Vermont with increased electric rates that are $60 to $70 million more a year just to fund net metering solar panels for those who can afford them? How am I doing for time? I got 1 minute. Unless you want me to go, no. So I'll be around. I have copies of my book. I am writing a sequel with Chelsea Green Publishing. This book is about what we're facing. It's about increased erosion, destroyed water supplies. While they're fighting over carbon dioxide, has anybody seen the news? about the 12,034 PFAs or forever chemicals that are in our water supplies, in our food, plastic bags, phthalates, chemicals that are destructive to our children that are not carbon dioxide, nitrogen, or phosphorus, that are not essential to life. Why aren't we going after those chemicals? And as conservatives, we should be leading on those issues. Because, by the way, these chemicals, many of them are endocrine disruptors, atrazine, which is used in corn. They mimic estrogen. They can make a boy think he's a girl. That's what some, you're not allowed to say that, you know, even though it might be real science. We have studies showing male trout laying eggs in Vermont, but you're not supposed to say this. If young men are thinking they're girls because of all the chemicals in them, maybe we should give them more testosterone instead of estrogen, instead of completing the task of destroying their bodies. I digress. These issues are here to stay. These issues are part of our platform. Vermont has a place to lead in this whole country when it comes to agriculture, local food, healthier food. You don't have to be a purist or be against organics to not want your children being toxified and given all kinds of illnesses and depression and autism from these chemicals that the Biden administration and others are still churning out to make EV cars and solar panels and heat pumps. And you're paying for them. And then you're going to pay for the water cleanup. That's just one issue. I'm going to leave it to Bill Huff and others who are your leaders. You have a wonderful group of supporters here as the Republican Party in Vermont this year. I'm really honored and humbled to try to contribute something, but to encourage people. If you're running, run. Run to get the message out. Run to have fun. Run to talk to people. I didn't realize how much I liked putting signs out and talking to people. I thought it would be horrible. I had a lot of signs. Get to know your Vermonters, get to know each other. And then those of you supporting them, get out there. We need people to help support our candidates. So I'm very grateful for every one of you taking time out of this beautiful day, because this is the most important thing you could do. Because everything else people are collecting or think they're going to keep are at risk. You're not keeping anything if you lose the candy store to these progressives. So thank you so much for coming. God bless you all.
Thank you, John. Up next, Eric Peterson, Rutland District 2 representative.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to see everyone here, and I want to congratulate you for the number of people that are here. This is outstanding. And I hope it's followed up with candidates and members of the House of Representatives in the near future. My name's Art Peterson. I represent Rutland District 2. I live in the town of Clarendon. The district consists of Clarendon, Wallingford, which is right adjacent to the district here, West Rutland, and a lot of Rutland town. That's my district, and I'm in my second term. I want to recognize a couple of people that are here. Minority Leader Patty McCoy in the State House and Representative Jim Harrison have come with me, and they're enjoying what they're seeing here today. And you're going to hear about Get Real later on, but what I want to talk about really is reality, and I want to just run through very briefly what goes on in the State House and the position Republicans are in right now. So there's 150 members of the Vermont House of Representatives. There's 113 others, which are Democrats, progressives, and any other party they've got, and 37 Republicans. So the 37 Republicans are represented on 13 committees. I'm on the healthcare committee. So on most committees, there's 2 to 4, 2, 3, 4 representatives in each committee. So the committee chairs, out of the 13 committees, 12 of the chairs are Democrats. Okay? We have one Republican that chairs the Commerce and Economic Development Committee. So, and the Speaker of the House is a very liberal, progressive Democrat. She runs the show. And what happens is the Speaker of the House gets together with the committee chairs, okay, and determines what bills we get to look at, that we get to discuss, that are brought to the table to be testified on and then passed out of the committees. Anyone want to guess how many of those bills belong to Republicans? Like 0. There are occasionally a bill here or there that makes it through the process. Usually there's, if your town here at Ludlow has a charter change, it has to go through the House, and there might be a Republican name on it, okay? But otherwise, every bill, and last year I believe it was, other than those couple that were charter change, every bill is a Democrat bill. So the bill comes to the committee, the chair of the committee gets people to testify, and invariably all the testimony is in favor of the bill, okay? And I want to talk about, I kind of broke the bills down into 3 kind of categories. I will say a lot of the bills are benign. They don't do anything. The charter changes, the language changes, the things like that. But more and more, especially this year, a lot of bills are tax and spend bills. All right, there's money attached, you know, expenditure. Like John Clark just said, we grow government all the time. We need 2 or 3 people here, we need 2 or 3 people there. You know, by the time you throw in benefits and everything, it's $150K a person that they add to the state government rolls. So the tax and spend are the second type, and then the third are bills that contain liberal or progressive policy. And you can name 1 million of those, okay? And so those are the kind of the 3 categories of bills. But anyway, the bills churn through the committee, and we sit there as Republicans, and bills come out that aren't up to snuff for us, 8-3. 8-4, you know, 9-2, we're the ones saying no. The Republicans in the House, God bless every one of them, are saying no to this stuff. But we can't do anything. We cannot do anything. It's out of our hands. The bill goes to the floor, House floor for a vote. Every single bill that goes in front of the body passes. There hasn't been one in my 4 years that hasn't. They all pass. Because they have the numbers. They don't have to deal with us. We don't get dealt with in any way, shape, or form. We're there for window dressing, quite frankly. The big thing right now, if I would leave a quick message here, 37 needs to grow to 52. Because we can't sustain a governor's veto. Now, we can talk about the governor all day, and I'm certainly not going to. But Governor Scott will veto a ton of bills if he knows those vetoes can be sustained. Let me say that again. He will veto a bunch of bills if he knows that veto can be sustained. We need 52, 55 people. If we grew 18 and had 55 Republicans, we'd be dancing in the street. We'd be dancing in the street, because that would give us the power to sustain vetoes, and it would change the conversation in the House of Representatives. All this junk bills that tax and spend and going to hit every one of us, that would all be gone, because it'd all be vetoed, and the time wouldn't be wasted on it. So I guess my message to everyone, and you're doing a great job here, but we need Windsor County representatives. We need Windsor County representatives, and you got a lot of low-hanging fruit, let me tell you, that represent you now. Low-hanging fruit. People got to step up, you got to run, and I used to be a football coach, if you couldn't tell. I used to tell our players, there's no substitute for hard work. If you're going to run for that house and you got an opponent, you better be ready to work. It's going to take work, it's going to take effort, and it's going to take coordination and help from everyone around. So all I would say is keep doing the things you're doing. Things look good here, but get candidates and support them as best you can. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, up next, Ludlow's own Kevin Winters, candidate for House or Windsor District 2.
I came today knowing I'm not a politician and I have a lot to learn. And after these two gentlemen, John and Art, there's tons. I was working hard to take my 7 minutes and bring it down to 5 or less. Obviously, with 2 minutes really to go, I'm going to have to scrap that speech. So what I'm going to try to do is give you an overview of who I am and have the hopes that I'm going to meet many of you today and get your inputs, your advice, your warnings, and represent you well. I am Kevin Winter, and I am running for town representative of Shrewsbury, Mount Holly, and Ludlow. I'm fortunate enough to have my wife, Lee, here. Raise your hand. I love her dearly. She's been a super partner for 41 years. We have 3 children, grown, productive, loving, 7 grandchildren, and I'm very thankful for them. I've experienced lots of real life. If I went through my resume of how many companies I've worked for and how many states I've lived in, you'd be bored, but it would show that I've seen a lot of life. We have graciously been blessed by the good Lord to get our 2 sons who were hooked on opioids to be freed from that, and they are productive and well. We are comfortably retired in Ludlow. After 25 years, we're not quite considered home staters, but we love Vermont, even though I can't stand the direction we're moving in. My hope is to be a common sense thinker. I am a Republican, but I'm an independent thinker, so I listen to people, and I try to understand what the real needs are and make the right decisions. I wasn't going to use this line, but maybe I will because I'm going to cut it short. Anybody watch Yellowstone? A few of you? Okay. Well, those of you who've enjoyed it, if I get elected, I will be the evangelical Christian John Dutton of Vermont. Any so-called progress bills, I will be a solid no. Because we need to stop the momentum that is taking place. And the more voices that we have doing that, the better opportunity we have to make a change. So my request to you is that you accept my appreciation for supporting. This is a wonderful turnout. Roy and Kelly, this is fabulous. For Ludlow, this is fantastic stuff. Please sign petitions, help us to get on the rosters. And I would personally ask that you introduce yourself to me. Let me hear what you think, what your advice is, and I will appreciate your vote if you're in those 3 towns. Go red, win red, whichever way it is. Go red wave. No, it's win red.
It's win red.
Win red. Go MAGA. May God bless you and your family, and thank you very much.
Okay, our next candidate, V.L. Coffin, candidate for Windsor 2 out of Cavendish. Thank you.
Many of you don't know me. I'm V.L. Coffin. I live in Cavendish. For a little bit about myself, I was active duty Army. I joined the Army in 1990. Just prior to Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I got off active duty, I came to Vermont. I joined the Vermont Guard within 30 days after 9/11, served again, didn't retire until 2017. Both those times I joined, I felt I needed to stand up and be counted. And just this last year, the last few months, I've met August, I've met Andrea, I met Rob, the head of a Cavendish GOP, joined the GOP there. And I felt I needed to stand up and be counted again. Because one of the things I see, and I started seeing after I watched the news again, and then reading, is how we deal with addiction here in Vermont, which is, to me, the most important way we can do it. I say this because prior to joining the Army in 1990, I was an addict. They say addicts can't heal. However, I was able to get myself clean and serve this country. I was able to stay clean and serve this state. And I just see that we need to serve again. Right now, we have lawmakers that want to make safe places to enable our youth to use drugs. Encourage them, which is horrible, it's abhorrent. Yes, it takes a lot of work. A person has to want to get clean. A person has to have a good reason to be clean. But we need to support them in getting clean. We don't need to support them in being addicted. All right? Methadone is just another crutch. If we keep giving crutches, if we keep giving the state money to stay addicted, all we end up is with addicted youth. People don't get better if they're not made and given a reason to be shown there is another light, another hope. I am really trying to get that voice out, and I figured the only way I can get that voice out is to be part of the system. To get in there and stand up, be counted again, and serve this state in a different way. I've been honored to serve this state in the past as a soldier, been trusted to lead their youth, and now I want to be a voice for those same youth, the ones that are in trouble now, that need support, but don't need to be enabled. Thank you.
Hello. Up next, Nancy Gathis.
Hello.
Wyndham County.
We're here from Wyndham County to get some inspiration from Windsor County. I am the Wyndham County Secretary Committee woman. I've held a lot of positions in local government, and I've learned a lot. So I've been leading some trainings with groups to learn about justices of the peace in Vermont. I don't know how many of you know about the position, the elected position of Justice of the Peace in Vermont, but they serve a very important part in the election system especially. So they'll be on the ballot this November in every town in Vermont. And I'm encouraging you all to look into that position and run for it. Your town committee nominates you to be on the ballot, and you're elected on the November ballot, and then you serve for 2 years, and we need you. It's a grassroots, local town position. I am a JP right now, and you can have a lot of effect on things, so please think about running. If you need any more information, just tell Roy, and he'll be happy to give you my information. Thank you.
Up next, Deb Bucknam.
Thank you. I'm Deb Bucknam. I'm from the Northeast Kingdom, Caledonia County. I'm here because I have the honor of representing 6 very brave families from Wyndham County who sued the state and the district and the WSCU, saying that their children needed a better education. On Wednesday, we received a decision from the court. The court dismissed some of our counts, but the court did say that we made our case for these families, that their children are not receiving a basic education and that the state is liable. country as far as cost of education, and we're getting a lousy product. So I think this is a issue that Republicans can run on and run on successfully. There are many parents out there, as you all know, that are totally dissatisfied with their schools, and for good reason. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Up next, Kelly Spalding, Andrea Murray.
Hi, Kelly Spalding. I'm here to talk about getting involved, right? As you can see, we've got a lot of people here. This is what needs to happen. Andrew and I are both doing actually recruitment. If you look on the back of your program, we've got those, and there's cards out there that you can get in touch with us if you guys want to organize your town, do that type of recruitment, and become a member. We can connect you. Okay, the big thing is just to be able, I want you guys to be able to, even if you say, I can't really, commit a lot, just commit a little. Sign up with us, sign up, we'll send you some emails, we'll let you know when the events are happening, so that you can be in the know. We'll give you as much information as we possibly can. And we're hoping to turn this type of event into 10 times this. Okay, so get out there and vote, that's gonna be very important. As you vote, the more delegates we get per county, the more delegates we get per town, and that's what we need to be able to grow Vermont.
And to add to that too, we have new member packets, so if you have somebody that's interested in those towns that are not formed, those 9 towns, we have pamphlets, packets, how to do it. We have a script, we have everything ready to go, and it makes it really easy. So when they're on the edge, because sometimes it's just knowing what to do is the reason they hold back. So we have all of that prepared and put together packets, so you can just get with us on that.
Mr. H. Okay.
Hello. I am H. Brooke Page from Washington, Vermont, the good Washington, not the bad. I'm a Republican, I'm a Vermonter, and I love my state. Pause. Let's say that together. I'm a Vermonter, I'm a Republican, and I love my state. I've been asked to basically come up and explain what the heck I'm doing. For the past several cycles, I've petitioned and run in the primary for the 4 offices that the party has nobody to run for. If I don't do this, and there's a blank on the ballot, about 1,200 rascally Democrats throughout the state grab Republican ballots instead of Democratic ballots and write their published candidates in on the primary ballot. Since there's no published Republican candidate, the Democrat wins. And so we have no contest in the general election. The most notorious of these would have been in 2018, I think it was, when, along with Secretary of State and State Treasurer, the party had no candidate for U.S. House. So Peter Welch won the Republican primary. And I don't know whether it was because he was arrogant or just ignorant, but he got up the day after the primary in the press and said, I must be doing such a wonderful job. Even the Republicans have made me their candidate. And I said, this cannot happen again. So I went to the party officials at that time, would have been David Sunderland and Jeff Barkley, and said, what are we going to do? And they were like clueless. I said, well, how about if I had this petition onto the ballot? And they said, yeah, go for it. And so the next election cycle, which would have been 18, I guess, I went out and petitioned to get on the ballot for not only 4 offices, but they had nobody running for U.S. House and U.S. Senate at the time. So I was doing those 2 offices as well. Then at the last minute, the chairman got in touch and said, first of all, she was saying, what are you doing? And I said, well, you guys told me to do this. And then at the last minute, she called, we don't have anybody for lieutenant governor. Can you put that on there as well? And I go, my God. Fortunately, at the last minute, Don Turner stepped up, and so I was only on the ballot for 6 offices in the primary. Won all 6, including 2 that wound up being contested. And as I had promised, I turned back. After I won the primaries, I then withdrew from those races so the party could pick other folks through another process that's called nomination by committee. So we were able to have a full slate of candidates for the general election. Now we have to find a little bit candidates that are a little bit more long in the tooth and more experienced, because the idea is not just to have somebody on the ballot, but to have somebody on the ballot who can win. So I'll be here, and I need everybody to fill out one of these petitions. 1 page is just for you, okay? You're signing 4 separate petitions, 1 for each office, because there's rascally Democrats keep changing the law to try to prevent me from doing this. When I first did it, I could the law didn't say anything about how many offices could be on a petition. So I put all 4 on 1. Everybody just signed once, and we were off to the races. When I turned it in, the Secretary of State said, you can't do that. I said, well, of course I can. The law doesn't say I can't. They said, we're going to change this. You can't do this again. So they changed the law just for me to try to stop me. But they weren't real smart about how they changed it. They said, changed the law, said, a candidate must turn in a separate petition for each office. I said, oh, well, this is okay. They just have a bookkeeping problem. They want to pile up petitions for each of the files. So I did the same thing I did before. I had all the offices in one petition. And the law says, or the Supreme Court has said, state Supreme Court has said, petitions can be originals, copies, photocopies, or faxes. So I just photocopied off the 1 set of petitions 4 times, handed them all in. And I remember Will Senning was going through the first set and started on the second set. I said, these are the same as the first set. I said, yeah. I said, we changed the law. I said, well, read what you changed it to. I said, you got a set of petitions for each office. He says, that's not what we meant. I said, it's not my place to interpret what you meant. So I went and changed the law again. So the law now says that you can only have 1 party on a petition, you can only have 1 candidate on a petition, and you can only have 1 office on a petition. So now I have 4 little petitions, 1 for each office, specially designed for each person. And I do this for several reasons, one of which it would be a bookkeeping nightmare if I was running around with 4 clipboards with 4 offices trying to make sure everybody signed every one, and then trying to curate all that into some organized fashion to turn it in. So I guess that explains what I'm up to. Once again, something else. Somebody came up and said that I should mention. I'm also on the Republican Party's Election Integrity Commission, which hasn't really gotten that much notice. And it's important to understand that bad things are afoot in Vermont. The other side is doing things, and everybody says, oh, you don't want to say election fraud. Well, election fraud can take a lot of different forms. Election fraud can be the other party sneaking over and trying to get their candidates nominated as the other party's candidates. And there's other things. But the biggest thing is our election laws have become so loose that many people have become dispirited and don't believe in the election anymore and are staying home. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's election integrity. And having dissuaded folks from being actively involved in the election process, is virtually fraud, if not, but, you know, and the other party that wants to rename us is, you know, election deniers, and, you know, we want big taxes and big government, all this. And we have allowed them to define who we are. And it's about time we started defining ourselves. And accurately defining who the heck they are, you know? Anyway, my name is Brooke Page. I'm from the little town of Washington, Vermont, and I am running in the primary for, ready? Secretary of State, Attorney General, Auditor of Accounts, and State Treasurer. And if you know good, solid professionals that would step up for the general election to run for those offices, please have them get in touch with me. My idea is not to wait till the primary is over and then have them suddenly pop up. I'm hoping that these people would commit earlier and would go around campaigning with me, where I get, you know, say, I'm Brooke Page, I'm running for treasurer. But this is the guy the party is going to run in the general election. He's, you know, highly winnable. Thank you very much. God bless, and God bless the state of Vermont.
Thank you. Up next, Mr. Terry Williams, Rutland County, District 2 Senator.
Good afternoon. I'm Terry Williams. I'm a senator for Rutland County, and I'm a Republican and an 8th generation Vermonter, and I didn't come prepared to say anything, but I've got a lot to say. So I'm amazed we have so many good, solid people in here that claim to be Republicans, because Rutland County has 3 of the 7 senators that in the Vermont State House. We have 30. So if you don't think it's like fighting a losing battle every day in that place, I can tell you it is. I ran 3 times before I finally got elected. I wasn't necessarily the most polished speaker, and I wasn't the most polished candidate, but I guess they figured out I wasn't going to go away, and they finally elected me. So what we need is we need help up there. I can tell you that there are days when I feel like the Lone Ranger, if anybody remembers the Lone Ranger, and I'm looking for Tonto, okay? So we've got some good candidates, we got good, solid people in Windsor County, and we've got good, solid town committees to support them, and that's exactly what we need. My experience before I ran and got elected in the Senate, I was on the town select board in Pulteney. I got appointed as a commissioner to the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, and that's one of the keys to success in figuring out the system. And I've been doing this almost 15 years now. I still haven't figured it out. But what our opponents are doing, and I'm going to be respectful, I'm not going to call them the enemy, but they're our opponents, is they are getting into our grassroots, our local government, planning commissions, they're getting on the school boards, they're getting on the select board, and they're taking over. And we can turn that around by getting our grassroots effort and getting it fired up just like we're doing right here. So it is about money. Although I financed all 3 of my campaigns myself, I never refused a campaign contribution, but I didn't solicit them. But I can tell you it would have been a lot easier if people had showered me with money, and they didn't. So I also don't take my salary. I take it because I was told I had to, but every month I donate my salary to a different veterans organization. And I do that because I'm a veteran of 35 years. I retired from the Army in 2004. And I was, and let me tell you something. People in the state legislature, they don't like veterans. You know why? Because veterans are number one, they're organized, they're hardworking, they're dedicated, and they usually have a plan. Right now, I can say without any doubt in my mind, the Republican Party in the state of Vermont doesn't have a plan. But we do, because Bill Huff has a plan, and I hope everybody stays and listens to it, because it's going to make a difference for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Up next, Ludlow's own Jonathan Gleason, candidate for Windsor County Senate.
Thank you, Roy. I appreciate everybody turning out today on such a nice day. It's nice for us to look out on a large crowd of people. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. My name's Jonathan Gleason. I'm a Ludlow resident, and I'm running for state senate. This all started for me. My campaign began, actually, my car needed some work, and you know whose garage I stopped in. Roy convinced me, hey, you know, you're not doing anything right now, you should take a run at political office. And no, seriously, I'm upset with the way things are going. I think I pay a lot of taxes in my life. I think all of you pay a lot of taxes in your lives. One of my main platforms is I want to see smaller, more deliberate government. I don't want to see them perpetuate the tax and spend. It's not going to work for any of us, is it? If all they do is take our money and send it to other towns and districts and spend it on things that God knows what they're spending on, it's not going to work. The politicians think of the taxpayers' money like a fire hose. Turn it on, spray it around. They don't care. They really don't. And it's gone too far. So I'm very glad to see that people are actually standing up and starting to take notice of this. Because if we don't, they're going to tax us into submission, and we'll have nothing left. Culturally, I also feel that Vermont is starting to lose itself. I think that the politicians are kowtowing to the big companies and to the big government themselves, and the small guy is getting lost. My background, I was a small businessman for years, a painting contractor. I sold that business 4 years ago. It was a successful sale. I have a lot of experience in books, money, understanding a budget. In my world, you couldn't be over budget. Over budget meant you were bankrupt. And that's what I want government to start to think of about your tax money. You've worked hard for that money. I'm not going to spend it willy-nilly. Prior to that, I worked for a large oil company internationally. So I understand about climate change and global warming. And I want to see some sane solutions to these problems. The idea of just saying to everybody, get rid of your cars and get electric vehicles, it's not a sane solution. It's not going to work. It's not sustainable. I understand what sustainable is, but I also understand the economics of how business can function and at the same time be fine for the environment and be good. On schools, it's gone too far. What they're doing with the kids, it's not good for the children. I want to see back to basics, learning. I want to teach the kids English, history, math, the way that I learned it. I wonder how many of our children could recite the Pledge of Allegiance the way that we did. They're not doing it at school. I stood up every morning and recited the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I remember that. It was a nice bonding experience for me. So as a politician, I want to be more of a back to basics, nuts and bolts type of person. I do not like the tax and spend, as I've said again and again. I want to take your money, the taxpayers' money, and treat it with respect. The respect that it deserves, just like each one of you hardworking taxpayers deserve respect. Thank you. So again, thank you very much for coming out today, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Hello, thank you. Up next, our very own Andrea DeLuna Murray. Candidate, Windsor County Senate.
Okay, just for the record, they wouldn't let us do karaoke today, so just kidding. So my name is Andrea DeLuna Murray. I do have a written speech, so I stay on track. I'd like to get into the fight. I'd like to help Terry Williams. I'd like to help I think they left, but all of our legislators. I'm throwing my hat in the ring to get a seat at the table as your Windsor County senator. Like we've heard lots of times already today, Vermont is God's country. It may not be easy these days to see that, but we are so blessed as Vermonters. We're in a battle for good and evil. Extremism, progressive socialist ideology is being aggressively woven into our laws to destroy the American way of life. Parents are being denied their fundamental rights to determine what's best for their children. I'm a mom. It's not okay. It needs to stop. Business owners are being taxed out of existence. Our citizens need economic freedom without oppressive taxes, excessive government regulations to give everyone a chance to realize the American dream of prosperity. The government overreach has to stop. We have to stop it. And together, I believe that we can. Laws and policy have always been used for either as a tool or as a weapon. Since the day we got handed that stone slab, 10 Commandments, the rules to live by, my, how times have changed. It is the power of the pen that still rules this land. The progressives are using the laws as weapons to destroy the very fabric of our communities, our livelihoods, our innocent children, our personal security, our property, our precious food supply. We have a minority in the General Assembly right now, and they need our help. We have to send Republicans to the Capitol to help fight this supermajority agenda trying to make Vermont a socialist state. We're not a socialist state. We have to have the strength in numbers to make real impactful changes to the destructive progressive legislation that is crushing our Vermont way of life. How do we do that? We show up, we speak up, and we vote. I will show up as your senator to represent you, to be your voice of our Republican values, for families, for kids, for our seniors, for the disenfranchised, the ignored, and most of all, I'm stepping up for the hardworking people of Windsor County who deserve, finally, to have common sense conservative representation in our legislature for Windsor County, because we have incredible legislators. I think it's probably safe to say we all know that I'm going to speak up to demand what's right. I've always been a bit scrappy, and I'm willing to stand up and fight for my beliefs. I'm a team builder, I'm an organizer, I'm a problem solver, and in short, I am a leader. Since I've made the decision to form Wethersfield Town Committee, I've been working over 70 hours a week, and together with some incredible friends, we are breathing back life into the heart of Windsor County. But we need your help to spread the word. Ask everyone you meet. Are you a voter? Why not? Incredible people have lost and unable to make a positive difference for just 4 or 5 votes. If we had just asked one person, register to vote, it could help, it could make a difference. It's like hoping to win the lottery and you don't buy a ticket. The hardest part of change is getting people to show up. And I think we're changing that. So that's why I thank you so much for coming today. Look around you, your friends, your neighbors. We have people here from all over the state. You came out to be together, maybe to see what all the fuss is about in Windsor County, but I hope that you leave encouraged, inspired to be a part of something bigger, because this is how we take Vermont back. We have worksheets available for getting the candidates. We have 12 candidates, maybe 11 candidates for Windsor County. We need a candidate on every seat. Brooke Page just mentioned why it's so important. We can't have them have the DR on their names when we go to the polls. We have to get people elected, we have to get people listed, and let them get out. We have to fill those roles. With our petitions, again, outside, please fill out your petitions, sign them, let us work for you. And I just encourage you to just keep getting together. Keep giving those conservative values. Guys, we're growing. We're coming back. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Up next, the one and only Mr. Mark Coaster, candidate for U.S. House of Representatives.
Hello. This is an awesome crowd. Thank you, Windsor County. This is incredible. I've never seen any county meeting in Vermont ever as big as this. I'm Mark Kirsta, and I'm running for U.S. House of Representatives. I'm going to try and help bolster the Republican majority in the U.S. House and oust Becca Ballant, if possible. You might boo me now. I'm a Flatlander. But I've only been here 51 years. I'm still a Flatlander, but I'm a Republican. I love Vermont. I love the people of Vermont. They've always done right by me. Always. I love America. That's why I'm running for office. Because I love my state and my country. I don't know how many of you are veterans, but most of you are aware that no veteran ever went overseas to fight wars because they hated somebody. They went overseas to fight because they love their country and they love their Constitution. And that's what I'm in. I'm not a veteran, but my father was a veteran, my grandfather, my uncle, and hopefully I can make a difference. It's going to be a battle. We have good and bad. We have Nancy Pelosi executing the Capitol Hill Fox because it had dirt on Hillary Clinton. But we also have the January 6th hostages doing surgery on a mouse to save its life so that they would have a friend in the Gulag. I see a lot of positive things happening around the country, a lot. I see Windsor County coming together and doing just what Colonel John Mills was recommending: serve your country and the nation will follow. The same message that General Flynn has been putting out for 3 years. Local action has national impact. I've been implementing that, not always nicely. Sometimes I have to be a little rough on people, and finally we got an election integrity committee under the state party. But that came out of Windham County, you know. So, you know, it was in Windham County that Vermont first declared its independence, but in Windsor County where they signed the Declaration of Independence. And it might be a long road ahead of us. I'm looking for our 250th anniversary of Vermont's Declaration of Independence to take the majority back. There was a message of appreciation relayed by Doug Bergman, the governor of North Dakota, in Manchester on Thursday from Donald J. Trump, a message of appreciation for everyone that is fighting so hard to do what they can for their state and their country. And, you know, it was good to hear. There's a lot of people in the battle now, and God bless y'all, God bless Vermont, and God bless America.
Thank you, Mark. Up next, candidate for Vermont Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Greg Thayer.
That was prearranged. Wait till you see what he does at the end. How's everybody doing? We're all here now. All right. So, first off, I want to thank, where's Lynn? The Windsor County Chair, where's Lynn? Lynn, thank you, Lynn Baldwin, her husband Joe. My hat goes off to them, goes off to her team, August and his wife Andrea. Is that too loud? I'll put it down here. And to Mr. Spalding and his lovely wife Kelly. What they have done with you all and what you have done is incredible and needs to be mimicked around the entire state. I've been touring the state for about 4 years when I was on my critical race theory tour doing town halls, and we had good numbers, but this is incredible. And every one of you should be very proud of yourselves to be here. So personally, from my heart, I just want to say, give it up for yourself. Thank you all. So I'm Gregory Thayer, and I'm a constitutional conservative Republican. And tonight, I hope to offer you some good news. 2 years ago, I ran for lieutenant governor. I lost in the primary, but I garnered 42% of the vote against a 12-year incumbent state senator. I won the 5 southern counties, including right here in Windsor. I am from Rutland County. I am the father of 5 children, 4 grandchildren, and 2 baking, 2 in the womb. So I'm pretty excited about that as well. And we're gonna have some more little Thayers running around. I'm just gonna throw this down there. It's easier. God has truly blessed me. I work as a financial and insurance audit reviewer. I have a 23-year career in banking. I have a master's degree in accounting, and I love my work. I love what I do. I love talking to people. I love listening to people. I love meeting people. And I get out. I work from home in front of 3 computers. So sometimes I find myself walking around Walmart just to get the human touch. So I love Windsor County too. There's a lot going on here. Not the energy that I just spoke about, but historically, from Calvin Coolidge, raised here in this county. Also, our first Constitution in 1777 with the Green Mountain Boys right over the road in Windsor. There's a lot of other good, innovative, hard thinkers here in Windsor County that have made big impressions, not just on our state, but on our country. And that's important. Oh, gonna need the glasses. Here we go. A little bit of small print. But y'all didn't come here. That's when I went to school in Virginia, y'all. You didn't come here for a history lesson. Many of you are here because you know that Vermont is heading down a bad road into a storm. You'd much rather find ways to fix that, and we're going to work to do that. Do you realize that the Vermont legislature is the only swamp in the entire state of Vermont that is built on a hill? That's true. Think about it. They've got the DC swamp. We got the Montpelier swamp. We got to take down that mountain. Where's Terry Williams and all our military? August. We'll take that down, right? So my principle for running are very, very simple, very simplistic. It's about we, the people, about freedom, liberty, independence, innovation, thinkers, and personal responsibility. I want to share a couple of my platform planks with you. And some of you may have seen a recent op-ed piece from myself about making Vermont affordable. It wasn't just written by myself, something I've talked about for 10, 15 years. But Senator Williams, our great senator, who's a good personal friend, and my buddy right there came down from Fairhaven. I'm from Brooklyn. I went over to Fairhaven to get him right there. What's your name again? Yeah. Mr. Robinson. He's been pushing this with us, and we need to make Vermont affordable. And if you haven't read the piece, it's in the Daily Chronicles. Everybody hopefully reads the Vermont Daily Chronicle with Guy Page. We need to cut taxes. We need to cut spending. We're not talking enough about cutting spending. We need to take care of our public safety, protect our people. Government's biggest obligation is to protect you and me, the people at large. We need to do that as a society. I also want to give law enforcement every tool that they need to get this mess under control. We need to repeal, not cut, not amend, but repeal. Get rid of the Global Warming Solutions Act. We need a more common sense, practical energy policy. What they're doing under the Gold Dome, Little California, a couple of you folks mentioned to me that I feel like I'm living in Little California. We need to stop that. That's why we need to elect all these great people, from Gerald Malloy, Mark Koster, right on down to dog catcher, conservative, common sense thinking people. Also, we need to get the Marxist education out of our schools. Leave our kids alone. State government does not have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. But working together, we'll find the answers. But I know who does have all the answers. God. God has all the answers, and we need to bring him back into the fears of Vermont and America. Pretty simple. In our lives, to help we the people, I believe God will do that if we let him in. So, even with all of our current challenges, I still believe that we the people know you all talk, that we the people can bring it together by talking to our neighbors, talking to our family, talking to, our meat cutter, our hair cutter, stylist, our nails, whoever, that when you talk to them, everybody's feeling what you're feeling, what I'm feeling. And we need to keep communicating with them. I know you, let's see. I'm gonna get right on to the last point. I'm gonna forget about that and go right on to the last point. So, I want to walk with you in this journey to overcome these challenges, to bring Vermont back to its glory days, and get government out of our pockets, off our couch, off from our kitchen tables, and let we the people make the decisions. Earlier I talked about the history of this great county, and Mark mentioned some stuff too. Mark's got a lot of information, and I know August has done some information on Windsor County, and that's really vital. So I'm going to close by this one little last comment. I haven't formally announced my candidacy for Vermont Lieutenant Governor. So mark this day in history, right here in Windsor County, that my name is Gregory Thayer,
And today, we mark the calendar that I am announcing my candidacy for Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Vermont in the Republican nomination. Thank you.
Well, next up is the man to take Bernie out of Vermont, Mr. Gerald Malloy.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Gerald Malloy, and yes, I'm the guy that's going to retire Bernie Sanders. Imagine that. That's exciting. That's exciting. I wanted to start off. So I'm about 2.5 years into politics here in Vermont, and I have never seen anything like this event here today. The energy, the unity, it's fantastic. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you for being here. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. So I ran in 22, and I did want to say thank you to every single person that supported me. I hope to have your consideration and support as I'm running again in 24 for U.S. Senate. Great experience. I learned a lot for that. I did want to, I would like to single out my wife, Stacy. There was just fantastic support, so thank you, honey. And I would like to say thank you to all the legislators that are here for fighting the good fight. And, you know, Art Peterson talked about it. We as a team, Republican team, frankly, you know what? We can't have another supermajority. We can't stand 2 more years of that. We can't stand 4 more years of the current administration. So I'm running again. When I ran in 22, I didn't like the direction of our state or our country. You know what? It's got worse. It's actually worse. It's unaffordable, it's unsafe. People are leaving. I have some solutions for that, and I hope to have your support. A little bit about myself. Unlike most people in the U.S. Senate, I actually have a lot of relative experience, business experience, government experience, military experience, foreign policy experience, 40 years worth. So what I offer is things like actually bringing discipline so we can balance the budget, not spend $2 billion a day just to cover the interest and have a $35 trillion debt that's going to collapse our economy. I worked with DHS for about 5 years. 17 years ago, we needed to shut down and secure the northern border and the southern border. I will get that done. That's the problem, is fentanyl's coming into it, ruining our country. I've got about 16 years of what's called business development positions. So I've worked mostly across the U.S. government, growing jobs, growing business. Vermont needs that. People are leaving in droves. I can actually bring jobs, well-paying jobs, not just service jobs, you know, for tourism, but well-paying technology and innovation, research and development jobs to Vermont. Vermont needs that for a healthy future. I talked about, you can clap, it's okay, we need that. Yeah, a couple other things, you know, I mentioned I've served in Europe, I've served in Asia, I've served in the Middle East, I've served in the Persian Gulf. I've been part of foreign policy that works, that produces peace. I will do that as a U.S. Senator so that we don't enable and support 2 new wars, which is what's happened in the last 3 years for our current administration. Last thing I will do is, you know, I'm probably going to go, if he ever decides to run, I don't know if he's scared, but if Bernie decides to announce, one of the things you notice is representation. You're not getting that. Vermonters are not getting that from Bernie Sanders. I will represent all Vermonters. I've already promised to visit every county at least once a year and spend hours there doing a Q&A. I'll be around here the rest of the day. I hope folks will come up and talk to me a little bit more. I'm excited about this year. You know, Republican Party, we offer common sense solutions. We offer representation for all. We actually believe in the Constitution. Too many folks in Congress right now don't even believe in the Constitution. So I'm excited about this year. I hope to have your support. We're going to have a great 2024. Thank you for a great event, Roy, and the rest of the Windsor County GOP team. May the 14 stars shine bright. May God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick things before we take a break. To expand on what Greg Thayer had to say, Windsor County, at a meeting 2 months ago, I believe it was the first county in the state of Vermont to endorse Donald J. Trump for president. And second of all, we need to support Gerald Malloy. We can do our own battle cry by, ready, say it with me, kick Bernie out. Kick Bernie out. Kick Bernie out.
Bill's the chairman of Orange County, and he's also, I believe, on 2 different committees, or 3? Okay, so Bill's got a presentation on the Get Real campaign, which is a Vermont GOP campaign. Here you go, Bill.
So are we ready for some good news here today, folks? It's time for Vermont to get real. As August said, I am the Orange County GOP chair, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about the Get Real campaign. We don't have enough time to go down through bullet point by bullet point, so what I do want to talk about today is the idea of a statewide unified campaign, because I think this is something that we've never seen before in the state, and I think there are some strategic advantages to doing a statewide unified campaign. So first off, I'd like to say that the statewide unified campaign helps us build a brand. John Clark and several others here today have mentioned that we've let the left define us. They have, told everybody who we are, and it's not correct. By having a unified statewide message, for once, we can get off our heels. Don't play defense, play offense. We're going to have a positive message, and we're going to redefine what it means to be a Republican. And the unified message gives us a chance to do that. So that's and one of the things I've heard, and I think it was mentioned here before, is in the past, we've been identified as the party of no. Well, all the Republicans say is no, but they don't have any ideas. So with a unified message, that's going to change as well. We can get off our heels, onto the balls of our feet with a positive message and redefine who we are. The second thing that I've seen already as I've rolled this thing out all around the state is the fact that it helps unify the party. There's no question, and I'm sure everybody is probably well aware, different factions within the party. As I've rolled this thing out across the state, I've seen people that are very hard right, and I've seen people that are center, or maybe even a little bit center left, but they call themselves a Republican. They've all gotten on board with the message. So it is helping to rebuild party unity. It's something that we can all get behind and get together. The third thing I want to mention is the idea that with a unified message, the ability to leverage that message. As a state party here, we have limited resources compared to the Democrats. We've got a smaller amount of numbers and definitely less money. So it's extremely important that we take the resources that we do have and be able to leverage that message. So what am I talking about when I say leverage? Part of what we're trying to do is to have candidates, particularly new candidates, get on board with the messaging. And just to show you what that might look like is these palm cards that hopefully you've seen them scattered around. Please don't leave without taking one yourself or a handful yourself. But the bullet points for the Get Real message is on the back side. On the front side, we've got this logo, but as a candidate, we've got a marketing organization that'll work with that candidate to put their face on the front, their information, but every candidate, hopefully, around the state will have the same messaging on the back. And what that means is if somebody is running for a House seat here in Windsor County, in effect, he's campaigning for the Senate candidate as well, as long as they're on the same page. And if you've got somebody, a House candidate or a Senate candidate in Manchester, and he's touting the same message. Well, it's the same message that they have in Essex County or Chittenden or Orange County. So it leverages that message. It helps us spread the message. Additionally, you can see I brought this as an example. So I'm working right now to have counties buy into the generic Get Real lawn sign. And we'll have those available at the May 18th convention in Burlington. So by putting this sign out and putting them out now, for instance, we're actually campaigning on behalf of every candidate throughout the state. So we want to put the idea in a voter's mind, regardless of where they reside in the state, that if there's an R beside a candidate's name, whether you've met that candidate or not, that candidate stands for Get Real. We're actually taking this right to the point where we'd like candidates to work with that same marketing outfit, and that is me, but no, I'm not running. I'm trying to get everybody else running, but this would be an example. So that the candidate's name would be on here, but the similarity in the sign is leveraging that message again. So regardless if it's a House candidate, Senate candidate, it doesn't make any difference that these signs, if they pop up all over the state, either one, again, it puts that message in the mind of that voter that that's somebody that's going to get real about Vermont's issues. Now, over the last few weeks, I have traveled all over the state, and again, by doing that, we're already launched the campaign season. And we've still got candidates that announced here today, haven't even announced, aren't thinking about running yet. But this is a way that we've been able to leverage that message. I've probably talked to 500 or 600 people. We had 5,000 of these palm cards printed. 4,000 of them have already been handed out. So the campaign is already underway. Now, I will mention one thing, probably the only criticism that we've had really about the Get Real messaging is not what's in it, but what's not in it. And I know every one of us has certain things that we hold near and dear. For some of you, it might be right to life. For some, Second Amendment, some constitutional issues. And I can tell you, as sure as I'm standing here right now, that we will never be able to address any of those issues until we retake legislative majorities. And the Get Real campaign is designed to do exactly that. I'll just finish up saying that I think we've got a real positive message. Everywhere I've been, people are on board. They love the messaging. If it fails now, it will be because one of two things. The first, lack of candidates. It is extremely important, just like Windsor County is doing here, to make sure we have candidates in every available seat, all up and down the ballot. So that is strategically important. The second thing is execution. And we know we're already behind the 8 ball compared to the left. So what we're trying to do is utilize the infrastructure that we already have in the state, which is the system of county chairs, town committees, and we're asking county chairs to work with the Get Real team to be able to place orders for signs so we can get them distributed. We're asking county chairs to work with your candidates and get them in touch with us so we can help them get the same kind of material for their campaigns. So, and I think that's it in a nutshell. I'll finish up by saying there's what I have left for the Get Real palm cards. There's a bunch out in the foyer. If you haven't picked one up, please do so. If you run a business and don't mind having these on your counter, grab 15, 20. If you're a member of an organization and you've got a meeting coming up, grab a handful of these things and take them with you, please. I can tell you that these will do no good whatsoever sitting on the counter out here and everybody's gone. We need help getting this message out. So please take those with you, distribute them anywhere you can. And the last thing is we're just now starting the social media campaign with short video clips that will be posted to Orange County's GOP's website. Hopefully the idea is that other counties will share that. That's one way we can work around the established media that might have a bias against us. We can become our own media by liking these posts and sharing these posts. So please do that. Even the state party website, btgop.org, will begin to have video clips and already has some op-eds there. So anytime you see anything about Get Real on social media, please like it and share it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Up next, Ludlow, one of our very own, Mr. Frank Province, Diamond Realty, is going to be speaking to some of the possible devastating effects on the real estate market.
Thank you, everyone. Frank Province, Diamond Realty, also a partner here at Fox Run. Just want to thank Roy and Kelly for putting this together at our fine establishment here. My partner Troy apologizes he can't be here today. We had another commitment in New York, but he's here in spirit for sure, and a huge supporter as well. I'd also like to thank our staff. If we can give them a quick round of applause. They've done a wonderful job putting this together, so thank you all. I'm here just to talk briefly about what I call a welcome to Vermont tax. I sell a lot of real estate to out-of-staters, and it really is what makes my living. But really my living comes from helping out the local people, and there's a few people in here that I've sold properties to, and I'm proud to say that I was able to help them out and get their dream done. So, and that being said, that tax when I started was 1.25% of the sales price of the property. And now, and the initiation of it was great because it was supposed to go to education. Well, once Montpelier got their hands on it, they started divvying it up however they wanted. And a portion of that goes to cleaning up Lake Champlain, which is great, but you know, we all know our education system is broken and they keep pumping money into it and it's still broken. But my point is that they now have imposed a 3.65% welcome to Vermont tax, transfer tax, and that is just going to put anybody who is local, and it, actually there's some parameters to it, but the bottom line is anybody trying to buy real estate in the state who was out of state is not going to come here. And the bottom line too is we need those people to come here to support this business, our businesses that we all have here. I see a lot of local business people here, and we all realize, you know, some of us hate it on weekends when there's traffic, but the bottom line is they help us survive. And we're going to need them to continue to help us. But we really have to reach out to our senators because this bill is passed in the House, as previous speakers have said. The House just slips stuff through because once you get up into the Golden Dome there, you get brainwashed no matter what side you're on, is my opinion. And so the House has passed this bill and it's in the Senate's hands. And I went to a meeting a few months ago, and one of the senators had the audacity to say, well, they have the money, they can afford it, it's a luxury tax. And that's not the mindset that we need to have. It's absolutely ridiculous. We gotta be fair to the people who are helping us live our lives, and fair to our local people most importantly. And we're just gonna make it, you know, impossible for someone to buy a home. I had to write a check yesterday because of the interest rate that took a young couple out of the picture. It broke my heart to write their deposit check back to them. So all I can tell you is please reach out to your senators. Vote, vote, vote for all these folks who have spoke tonight. I can't say that loud enough. And again, thank you all for coming. Thank you for being so supportive. God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you, Frankie. Up next is Deborah Ludlow. Just happens to be the Vermont Trump chair. Yeah. Is also a member of the executive committee.
Thank you. Is this okay? Is volume okay for everyone? Yeah. Thank you. My name is Deborah Ludlow. Some of you know me, some of you don't know me. I am the former state GOP chair for 4 years. I did that from 16 to 20, I guess it was. And it was a great ride. I'm so proud to be part of this organization. I've been involved in the party for maybe 15 years now. So let me jump ahead a little bit here, jump back actually. In December of 2015, I got a phone call from the Trump organization asking me, and I did not know who they were. I knew Donald Trump apprentice, Donald Trump New York, that's all I really knew, and asked if I would present him in Burlington. He was starting his rounds for his presidential campaign. And I was like, man, do I really want to do that? And so I did. I'm trying to be a good Republican. So I did. It was amazing. It was at the Flint Theater in Burlington. The place was packed, just packed, probably 1,000 people, and there were hundreds of people outside waiting to get in. That's the impression he made back then. Fast forward a year ago, they contacted me again and said, Deb, would you pick up the Trump campaign effort in the state of Vermont? Well, it was a no-brainer, except for me it was, do I have the bandwidth to take this on? I wear a lot of hats. And so I had to, because we cannot live with what we have today. We cannot have another 4 years of what's going on today. So, and I know we say this all the time. You've heard it a million times. Oh, this is the most important election of our lifetime. Trust me, in 2024, we're either going to make America or finish breaking America. And we need to make America. So the first thing we did was, with the help of the Trump campaign, we rented a booth at the fairgrounds in Champlain Valley. It's probably the biggest expo in the state. They see maybe 250,000 people that go through their doors at that event. So that was an easy way to get the 1,000 signatures that are required to get anyone on the petition for president in the state of Vermont. And so we did that, and in a moment I'm going to invite someone up. My partner in crime, Wendy Wilton, some of you may know her. Wendy worked diligently with me, with us, and through her skills, drive, and organization, we ended up with over 2,000 signatures. Not all of those came from the Champlain Valley Fair. They came out of Rutland, they came out of Tunbridge, and other places around the state. But then Wendy and I combed through those 2,000 plus signatures, and we netted 1,700 known voters in the state of Vermont, so they qualified. And that got registered in Montpelier fourth quarter of last year. So up to now we fast forward to right now. So I'm always on the phone with the Trump campaign saying, hey, what can we do? What do you want us to do? And it's always stand down, Deb, stand down. So we've been standing down, but we're going to get moving here pretty soon. What we're working on right now is the presidential convention that the state party holds. That convention is May 18th in Burlington this year. It's super important. Every town across the state, hopefully, has been caucusing, electing their delegates to go to that convention. That day on May 18th in Burlington at the Doubletree, there's a lot of things that happen. We vote for a new committee man. We vote for a new committee woman. Those are your national positions, committee man and committee woman. We'll revote our platform that day. But we also will be electing delegates to go to the national convention in July. That convention is July 14th through the 19th. Technically it's the 15th through the 18th, but it's a 5-day commitment for people that are going to that. So that day, May 18th in Burlington, will be really important for us to elect our delegates to go to the national convention. So currently, Trump is the only person on the ticket for us at the national convention. Everyone else has either dropped out or suspended their campaigns. Vermont gets 17 delegates to that national convention. 3 of them are automatics. Your state chair, Paul Dane, your national committee man, Jay Shepard, and your national committee woman, Suzanne Butterfield, are automatics. So that leaves us with 14. 14 delegates and 14 alternates. We're working on those applicants right now. If you're interested in running for that, the paperwork needs to be in by April 30th, I believe is the date that Paul has given us. And if you're interested in running for that, please reach out to me and I would be more than helpful to you to get your paperwork done. Can I see the hands of people in here who are already applying for the national delegate seats? Okay, so we have a few, good. So I'm more than happy to help you with that. So I'm not sure that I need to tout the Trump agenda. You know what his economic achievements have been. We had low unemployment rates. He created jobs. Economic growth in the nation was excellent under his 4-year term. His judicial appointments, as you know, he appointed 3 to the Supreme Court, all of them fairly young, and those are lifetime appointments. So that was amazing in his first 4 years in office. I think the only president prior to him, or if I go back a little bit, might have been Reagan. I think Reagan was able to appoint 3 justices to the Supreme Court, but that was over an 8-year period. Trump did 3 in 4 years, so he got lucky, maybe. Foreign policy, we know his historic peace agreement in the Middle East. Border, we don't even need to talk about the border. We know the mess that's going on down there. The left opened the doors, the southern doors, to the nation, and we are being trampled. And that needs to be fixed. Law and order, Trump did not support defunding the police. No one in their right mind did, to be honest with you. And he has the back of the blue. So he's a big law and order guy. And his America First agenda, I have to agree with it. I know that I have to take care of my household before I can help the people next door. If my children are starving, I'm certainly not going to feed the children next door. So you need some America First agenda. So I'm going to invite my good friend Wendy Wilton up here. Wendy, is that okay? Okay. Wendy has a few things she'd like to share with you. But I just want to say, we're on the right side of history with Trump. No matter what you're hearing, what you're saying, or what you're thinking, or whatever's going on TV, we are on the right side of history. We cannot stay on the track that we're on today because it's not good for America. Thank you. Thank you.
What a great crowd you are here today. This is the most fantastic event I've been to for a long time. I'm especially really pleased to be part of this Trump initiative. I actually work for the administration. I was appointed by Mr. Trump to lead up the USDA's Farm Service Agency under his tenure, which was a fantastic experience. And we really helped the Vermonters who farm. And I'm not so sure that's happening right now under this current administration. Two things I want to say to all of you. There's a couple of ways to really get involved with the campaign. Everybody can leave here today with a drink cozy or 2 or 3 or 10, okay? And on the back of them, they say text Vermont to that number. If you want to engage with the campaign, that's one way to do it. Another way is within Vermont, we have a Facebook page called Vermont Patriots. Vermont Patriots, and I'll get that over to the leadership here. And if you go on Facebook, Vermont Patriots, you're going to see 2 different Vermont Patriot pages. One is done by Kevin Hoyt. I don't know diss to Kevin, he created one too. But the one that's actually more Trump focused, or will be, is the one that says We the People on the top. So Vermont Patriots, and look for We the People. I think that's probably all I really have to say, except, oh yeah. You probably noticed I was out in the hall selling pins and things like that. All the proceeds of those sales of the pins and the flags and stuff go to the National Federation of Republican Women in Vermont. We have a northern chapter. There's certainly an opportunity in this room to develop a southern chapter here for southern Vermont for you folks here, and I'd be happy, if somebody wants to reach out to me, I'd be happy to help with that. But all the money for the proceeds of the sales of those items today goes to Republican women candidates. Thank you. And who?
The last thing I want to say is I've been involved in the party leadership for maybe 10 years now. This is an amazing, I knew Windsor was going to knock it out of the ballpark today. This is an amazing gathering. We have state meetings, state events that don't even have this many people. So give it up for Windsor County.
Thank you, Joe. Just to add on to that, any of you bikers out there, my wife and I are the moderators for the Vermont Bikers for Trump page, so you can hit us up on that one. Next up, Mr. Jay Shepard, National Committee Man, and EC.
Hi, my name's Jay, and I'm a Republican. You know, we've listened to a lot of people today, and everyone's been very, very good and very, very nice. And I think people that know me, that I am not as nice as everyone else. Okay? It's time to start saying some things that are real out there. The Democrats are destroying this country, the Democrats are destroying this state, and we are the only ones that are going to be able to stop it. We've got a president that is, our border's out of control, there's wars around the country. We've got senators, Bernie Sanders and Peter Welch, that every day go to work to destroy Vermont and destroy this country. We need to fight back, and we need to fight back now. It distresses me very much when I hear Republicans criticizing other Republicans. Sure, we're not perfect. People in our House and our Senate are not perfect, but they're damn well better than the Democrats, and we need to let people know that. You know, we have children, I have grandchildren. These Democrats and progressives think it's okay to mutilate a child. It's wrong, and we can't stand by and let them continue. The people who stood up here today that are running for office, you're my heroes, because you're stepping forward and you're making a difference, and you're giving us all a chance to change the dynamics in this state. We look at our statewide office, people that are running here today, thank you very much, but we need to get behind them, and we can't criticize them because we disagree on 1 or 2 issues. Every one of us in this room are Republicans, and every one of our candidates, and especially those that are already in the House and Senate, that we find it easy to criticize something they did or something they said. They're fighting for our children. And it's real, folks. They are trying to mutilate our children. They are changing our schools. They are doing all this negative stuff. And it's bull crap, and it needs to stop, and we need to support each and every one of us every day. So I applaud everyone who's out there that's in the arena making a difference. So I'm an old man, obviously. I've been the RNC committee man representing Vermont on the national stage for 12 years now. I've been to 5 conventions. I'm going to the 6th one. It will be my last one. We need people to step up. We need to have younger people step up. And when I mean younger people, I'm talking about people even in their 60s. If you have any thoughts of being involved, be a delegate to the convention. You're going to meet people that you've never thought you'd meet before. You'll meet national prominent people. You'll meet every member of the media, good or bad. Gives you an opportunity to heckle CNN. Gives you a chance to heckle MSNBC. And it lets you cheer some of the people that you already know. So all I'm saying is, let's focus on who the problem are. And I think Senator Williams earlier said, you know, they're not our enemy. Guess what? They're America's enemies. The liberals that are trying to take down this country and turn it into a socialist state need to be stopped, and it's people in this room that are the ones that are going to make a difference. I appreciate the support over the years. Thank you all, and let's keep fighting.
Thank you, Jay. Up next, our final speaker, Dr. August Murray, Chair of Wethersfield, Vermont State Member at Large.
So I'm going to be real brief because the bar is open and people can have dinner afterwards. I'll do a couple of remarks real quick. We just had a few of our state leaders here. Jay Shepard, very distinguished leader on the State Executive Committee, represented Vermont at the RNC for 12 years. We also have Deb Bilodeau, Treasurer, former Chair. Thank you both for coming down here to Windsor County. Is Suzanne still here? Suzanne Butterfield? There's Suzanne Butterfield. If everyone want to take a look, Suzanne, if you could raise your hand. Suzanne is our RNC chairwoman, our national committee woman, I should say, national committee woman. She's served Windsor County for 2 decades, helping organize Republicans in this county, and she's been extremely supportive of the efforts of the new executive committee. Lynn, our chair, is in the back. Joe, her husband's here. Roy and Kelly Spalding, amazing people. Peggy's here. Earl, her husband, could not make it, but the Dion's, wonderful people. And also Mike Todd was here, but he had a gig as he's a drummer in a band. Okay. So, and my wife Andrea and I. So we're a 9-person team. Here's what I'd say. Before you leave, please sign the petitions. Please consider buying some raffle tickets, or I think we're almost ready. Actually, it's too late for the raffle tickets. We got to call it, right? Yeah. And then the other thing is, don't stop organizing. If you don't have a committee in your town, any one of the 9 people I just mentioned on the executive committee will help you organize your Republican committee. I grew up in Vermont in the 70s and 80s, where every town had a Republican committee. We were all Republicans. Things were pretty normal back then. But here's the thing. Talk to everybody you know about being a member and being part of the process of getting common sense back in the state of Vermont. Vermont's a Republican state. It's historically, for 150 years, it's a Republican state. It's gotten really messed up the last few decades, and it's time to restore Vermont back. And there are enough silent voters, I should say silent residents, that need to be voters again. They're out there. And like my stepfather is in Springfield. He's constantly telling me about people that just don't even vote anymore because they're so disgusted with the state of affairs. There are people on the ballot. There are people who join the ballot today. We need candidates in every district in Windsor County. We will win. And every 2 years, we will win more seats and more seats and more seats. This is my belief. My belief is that the Democrats are a house of cards. It's a hollow dream, a failed dream. It's a house of cards. And it's time for Republicans to get involved. And Republicans, there are no more moderate Democrats left. There used to be what I would call moderates. The ones that are elected are progressives and extremely liberal. And like many of the speakers have said, they're going in a very bad path. So get involved. We can win. Tell everyone you know to get involved in voting and joining the membership of committee. So Roy, thank you for the time. Thank you, Roy, for an amazing event, hosting this and coming up with this with Kelly on the Spalding family. Let's give him a big round of applause.